Imagine it, feel it, believe it. That was Neville Goddard's formula. And boy, does it work. I created a meditation to guide you through those 3 steps to imagine, feel, and believe anything you want to draw into your life. Check it out at hightimelinebooks.com, and don't forget you can get all 3 of the prosperity meditations in a bundle, 3 for the price of 2. hightimelinebooks.com.
Hello, Fun Astrology Podcast family. Kristin Lawhead here. Happy Thursday! Only the moon makes exact aspects today. When looking at all the planets, the ratio of positive aspects greatly outweighs the challenging ones. If you watched Thomas and I on the Lucky Stars Report, you would know that today is a lucky day. The moon spends most of the day in Taurus, which puts the moon in her exalted and happiest of places, especially in this day of an exalted moon being ruled by an exalted Venus in Pisces, since Venus rules Taurus. The moon does begin a void of course aspect at 5:50 p.m. Eastern with a positive sextile to Mars in Cancer. This void of course only lasts until 8:07 p.m. Eastern when the moon makes its way into Gemini. But let's talk about the void of course moon and how to use its energy to the fullest. First, let's take a step back for our beginners and define void of course moons. It's the last Ptolemaic aspect the moon makes before changing signs. The void of course isn't a time to start new projects, but to be making finishing touches on projects that are already started. The last aspect determines the flavor of the energy for each of the different void of course moons. Thomas and I did a video on void of course moons about a year ago at the time that he was recording The Book of the Moon by Stephen Forrest, which I highly suggest for a deeper dive into this. And of course, wonderfully narrated by Thomas on an audiobook. Now that we've covered some of the basics, the void of course moon for today, I said it begins with a sextile to Mars in Cancer. So the moon is the ruler of Mars being in Cancer. Another wonderful piece to this puzzle. Mars only retrograded back into Cancer a few days ago after being in Leo since November 3rd. The lunar connection of this void of course can help in aiding Mars retrograde themes that are happening in your life right now. The Cancer and Leo houses that are being activated by the Mars retrograde should already be on your radar. And the Taurus house in your chart is currently being activated by Uranus as well. So let's go through a couple of examples of what I would be looking at in a chart. And we'll be using whole signs just for simplification. Maybe you're a Cancer rising and this Mars retrograde would have been in Leo in your 2nd house, giving situations that you're reevaluating your values. Now Mars has retrograded back into your 1st house. And how are these things in the reevaluation of your values causing you to redefine parts of your sense of self? The sextile from the Taurus energy is coming from the 11th house. So this is aid from your community, your friends, and the power that is living inside of your hopes and dreams. Of course, this isn't taking into aspects in your chart from your natal planets, but in a general sense, it's a great place to start. So that's for Cancer risings. Another example, let's do Taurus risings. Mars has been retrograding through your 4th house, reevaluating your home and your sense of security. Mars is now back in your 3rd house, activating the way that you communicate and some of these changes that happened in your sense of security and how you want to communicate those things. Taurus is in your 1st house, of course. So all of this aid in the Mercury retrograde narrative is coming from yourself. So Taurus risings definitely be feeling in your own empowerment through this. I hope these examples have helped. I would love to hear from everyone in the YouTube comments about how these energies are being activated in your life. And be sure to leave your rising sign in the comments too. For a calendar of all the void of course moons, go to funastrology.com/moon. But that's all I have for you today. Much love. Talk soon.